I first became aware of the journey just over 2 years ago. At the time, my youngest daughter was about 18 and she was suffering from panic attacks. She was suffering from several panic attacks a week. She had started the panic attacks when she was at school at sixth form, and she was finding that she would just become so panicky on the bus going to school that she would actually have to get the driver to stop the bus because she thought she was going to be sick, and then would just sort of sit on the side of the road just in a complete state, and that was the end of her school for that day. So she fell out of sixth form, and then she got a small job in a cafe, but still the panic attacks went on several times a week, often triggered by small things like not being able to find her badge to go on her uniform, and very often we would be run up and she would be barely able to speak, just in a complete state where she was hardly breathing normally, she couldn't speak, just desperately asking for our help because she had come to ground to a halt. And this went on for about 18 months, and towards the end of this at the end of this 18 months, somebody suggested to me that she try the journey. And so I took her down to see a wonderful practitioner, Joanna Dayton, down in Suffolk. I was the taxi driving her down there. And so I took her to see Joanna, and then went and sat in a cafe with my mobile phone, drank copious cups of tea and waited for the phone call to pick her up. And I had said to her as we were driving down that this was her process, it was a private matter, and that therefore I wouldn't ask her anything about the process, even though I was going to be driving her back for an hour in the car and obviously was itching to know what might have gone on, that I wouldn't ask her anything. And so when I picked her up, when we got back in the car at the end of her process, I didn't say a word, and she turned to me and she said, "I'm just going to tell you one thing, Mum." And I said, "All right, yes, please, one thing." And she said to me, "Well, Joanna had said to me that as I started the process, that probably it would be like I had a little voice in my head, a little voice going, 'Oh, this isn't working, oh, this is a load of rubbish, oh, you're not doing this properly.'" She said, and when I closed my eyes and went into the process, it was just exactly as Joanna had said. I had this little voice saying, "Oh, this isn't working at all, oh, you're not doing this properly, oh, this is a load of rubbish." She said, and I was feeling so uncomfortable and so frustrated that nothing was working and this was no good. And then suddenly she said, I was the most terrified I've ever been in my life. I was shaking, found myself crying, snot pouring out of my nose. And at that point, I stopped telling myself that this was rubbish and it wasn't working, and I just went with the process. And that was all she told me. I have no idea whatever else happened in the process. But the thing that I do know is that from that day, the only thing that has happened has been a couple of very slightly panicky incidences due to very extreme external stresses that would have made anybody feel panicky. And the full-blown panic attacks just stopped that day, and she hasn't had another one since. And after having lived with her and witnessed and been part of her life during these 18 months, when she was just completely at the mercy of this debilitating condition, and then like a flick of a switch for her to be completely free of them, was just such an extraordinary testimony to the power of journey work that I was hooked. I was absolutely intrigued, and at that point I went on my first bit of journey training and decided to become a journey practitioner myself.